The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida.
From Mallory Square in Key West to the Governor's Mansion in Tallahassee and all points beyond, you're listening to the Florida Beer Podcast, powered by FloridaBeerBlog.com, your source for all things related to the craft beer community in the Sunshine State. And now your host, Dave Butler.
Welcome back. It's another episode of the Florida Beer Podcast, powered by FloridaBeerBlog.com. This is Dave, your host and author, and we are in Deerfield Beach today, which, if you've never been, is a gorgeous beach. We have been there before a couple of times, and in fact, if you have listened to us or you've watched us on our YouTube channel, we did some live recording at Ocean Brews and Blues Beer Fest. It's always a great time. If you haven't been, definitely check them out online. And it's quite literally the best location for a beer festival ever because you have a row of breweries. You've got a sidewalk, a small grassy berm, sand, and the Atlantic Ocean. It literally is that close. It is amazing. And if you listened or watched us on YouTube, you'll know that one of the people that we had was Manny Jannes. He is a longtime friend of the podcast. He's been on the podcast before when he was at Black Flamingo, and now he is at Cove Brewing in Deerfield Beach. And the main way to get onto Deerfield Beach, as you travel down Hillsborough Boulevard, on the right, you'll pass by the Cove Shopping Plaza, and on one end, exactly the opposite end from the Cove Tiki Lounge, is Cove Brewery. He'd been asking for me to get there and asking for me to get there and asking for me to get there. And I finally got there. And I don't know why I was waiting so long. It's fantastic. It's nice and beachy and breezy and open. And we all absolutely loved it. We cannot wait to get there again. Obviously, the beers are fantastic as well because I expect absolutely nothing less from Manny and his brewer, Tyler Immell. And we are actually going to be speaking with both of them about the Cove Brewery. And in this first part, I'm going to be speaking with Manny and Tyler about their considerable experience in the South Florida craft beer scene, because they have some breweries under the belts, and then crafting a brewery and a concept and a location in Deerfield Beach where there really hasn't been anything like this before. Sure, there's been breweries to the north, plenty of breweries to the south, but nothing in Deerfield Beach as well. So sit back, relax, enjoy this part one of the Cove Brewery with Manny Jannes and Tyler Immell.
I'm the head brewer. It's funny because it's when you become the head brewer, you brew less, which is crazy how that works, right? All of a sudden you're doing more paperwork than you are actually doing the physical work. But yeah, I'm head brewer. I've been head brewer since I got here.
Okay.
Since I got here, yeah.
My ultimate number one goal for who I want to have on the podcast is Garrett Oliver. And he's been a brewmaster for I don't know how long. That boy does not touch grain.
Yeah.
He doesn't touch grain.
Yeah.
He's got too many people. He just sits and exudes brilliance from on high, but he does not touch grain.
Yeah.
So but you do all the beer.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, nice. So let's go back. This is, the Cove is Deerfield Beach's first brewery.
That's correct.
What kind of story, what did that take? Because I know from experience, you talk to a lot of breweries, when they were the first in a city doesn't totally understand what to do with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any other brewery opening up in the industry, right? You're the first one in. So what do they say? First one through the wall gets the bloodiest. And so essentially, we were looking at the same thing. Back in 2017, the owners of the Cove Brewery, they saw potential in the building itself. The building itself was dilapidated. abandoned. The roof was falling out. There were floors falling off. The plumbing was horrible. It was just an abandoned building that was used for storage and old medical.
And I find that really strange because we are in a very crowded strip mall very close to the beach. I mean, I know a lot of people like to park their cars here and walk to the beach, which is not that far away.
Oh, very much so. And people had tried to turn this building into things for as long as I've been in Florida, so about 12 or 13 years, and just nothing ever got off the ground. So this place has been abandoned for, part of a decade.
It's, you're right next to the water, and it almost feels like old Florida in a sense, but not like old Florida in the way that you would think cute and
Golden
Key
Girls.
Westy. Yeah, it's a little. It had the feel of dilapidation, right? And so, with the Cove restaurant on the intercoastal side, literally all the way east to us in the plaza, and us anchoring the west side of the plaza, it made sense for us. And so when the owners took over, the owners are in developing. They're in real estate. And they essentially saw the potential in the building, not really looking to open up a brewery. It's a fun idea. And they had, if they could put a brewery in here and find an operator to do it, they thought it would be a great addition to one of their buildings as a tenant. But the pandemic hit.
Yay.
And when the pandemic hit, that kind of changed everything. It was a well-known brewer out of Miami, who I'm not going to mention, that was going to open up a brewery here. His lease was up, and there was an interest of coming in here and becoming the operator. And when the pandemic hit, what happened? All the zombies came out. Nobody wanted to go ahead and take any risks at that time. So the ownership group just essentially decided to open it up themselves. They hired someone that consulted in the project before I got here, and they were able to get it all built out, get an investment group within their own family, because it's family owned, 100% family owned.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And they were able to put it up together, which is wonderful.
What was the city of Deerfield Beach like when they went to them and said, "Hey, we're going to open up a brewery"? You've never had any alcohol production in this city before. Yay.
Yeah, I think there were some of the, how it is. If one person says yes in a commission, the other person is going to say no. So there was some tug and pull, but overall, I think everybody saw the potential for it. The data was already there, right? It's easy to come up with the data and say, look, wherever anybody's opened up a brewery, anywhere, more like-minded businesses have opened up next to it and attracted better clientele, better foot traffic. Because it's an elevated thing, right? When you go buy a Budweiser can at a gas station, you're going to pay $4 for a 6-pack. When you go have a craft beer, the element that you're bringing in, and I'm not knocking anybody, but people you're bringing in are people that are going to pay $8, $9, $10 for one craft beer. So you're definitely elevating the area. And so I think there was a lot of that. I think we had a little bit of a pushback from neighbors. Another place that's going to be serving liquor, and we're going to have a bunch of degenerates all over the place. And so that was kind of the pushback from some neighbors, not all neighbors, but eventually people saw it, right? They said, that's an abandoned building. These guys are coming in. They're building something great in the area that's going to bring more people, tourism, more, better foot traffic in an area that's already got a good amount of money in it. And so that was kind of a changing for the mindset for the people in the city. And now forget it. Now they love us.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's crowded here. Now, neither one of you are really new to craft beer, especially here in South Florida.
No.
You've been around a little while. What kind of places have you?
My back hurts.
Yeah,
from the old timerness.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've been on the podcast before, back in the Black Flamingo days.
Yes.
And then where had you been?
So I started at Saltwater Brewery when I was 21, which was about 3 months after they opened. I was with them for 8 years up until the pandemic. Started off as a cellarman and then took over the cold side and then took over the hot side. By the end of it, I was doing everything. And then I moved down to Vasasur and Wynwood Brewing. And then after all of that debacle, I moved up here, which was a lot better because it's about a 10-minute walk from my house. So
Nice. So you've both had time in the Miami-Dade beer scene. You've obviously here in the Broward beer scene. Is there a big difference between the two?
I'd say, yeah. I could say this, and I hope it changes. I don't think we've got I don't think Broward County's got the legs and the wherewithal to do it right now, or the appetite to do it. But I feel like the Miami and the Dade County beer culture is a little more, there's more of a brother and sisterhood there. More and more people that are in the industry there go to the other breweries, support. You talk about, your neighbors and your brothers and your sisters in the industry. And so it's a little, it's more of a family down there. Where here in Broward County, I feel like it's a little more, more and more people are secluded on their own island. Not that we don't get along or we're not brothers and sisters. It's just not as organized as a movement, I would say, an organized movement, than it is in Dade County.
yeah, I would completely agree with that. I mean, one of the biggest, not learning curves, but something that I had to get used to working down there was just there is that brotherhood. I mean, every Friday before Box Elder closed, everyone would meet there to usher in the weekend, and it'd be the guys from Trippin', it'd be the guys from Trop and Wynwood, and we'd all shotgun a beer to really kick off the weekend. There's, yeah, for better or worse, there's not that real camaraderie amongst breweries up here. I mean, I still love all the guys up here. It's just not, that environment isn't necessarily there yet.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange because I feel like we need it more, but I feel like Broward County's evolved to more of I feel like my Dade County's more old school craft beer kind of, hey, we're doing this together and we're going to put our middle finger out to the big guy. That grew out of a culture, of an old culture in craft beer. Nowadays, it's a business, and so I think Broward County as a whole sees it that way. The feel is, we support each other. We're brothers and sisters. If you need some bags of grain, I got you. If you need some hops, I got you. If you want me to come help you brew, I got you. But it isn't one of those things where, like Tyler said, hey, where are you at this week? We're going to go hang out. Let's grab some beers together. That kind of stuff. So
I will say one thing that I've noticed is it kind of seems like with Miami-Dade, doesn't matter where you are. You could be in Kendall. You could be in Florida City. You could be in North Miami. You could be Opelika. You're in Miami. You're in these cities, but you're also in Miami. Whereas, for better or for worse, we're in Deerfield. We're still Deerfield. The Fort Lauderdale people, they're in Fort Lauderdale, but we've also got the people that are over in Coconut Creek, but it's still very separate. Each of our little cities are sort of their own thing.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I had a brewery in Pompano Beach. That's not more than a 10-minute drive from where we're at in traffic. We're right next to Boca Raton here in Deerfield Beach. They feel like two completely separate cities.
100%.
And they're maybe 5 minutes apart from where we are here into Boca Raton. So, yeah, it does feel kind of separated to some extent. But, I think, again, it lets people kind of focus, but it doesn't build a culture. It doesn't really build a culture the way we want it to.
Gotcha. So I guess that being said, now that we are here in Deerfield Beach, what is Deerfield Beach and how did that come to help the vision of what the Cove eventually became?
I mean, for us, it's funny because we have a small snippet of a story on our website. Essentially, it's a beach town. It's a beach town. It's where you come to hang out and go to the beach. And, the owners grew up in the area. They're from Boca Raton, so they're the city next door. They just came over and would go to the beach here because the beach here is great. And we're literally a 5-minute walk to the beach from where we're at. And that's how we see it. Now, there's a whole world of Deerfield Beach as a city, but we get to live on this beautiful little sliver where you see people in golf carts, people on skateboards and dreadlocks, people on bicycles, families and pushing their babies in carts. There's so many demographics of people in this little melting pot that we have. It's perfect. It's perfect. We're sitting here right now and they're dancing to line music while listening to disco. The bar is, it's crazy. It's crazy. But that's kind of what we have going on here. So yeah, I think it's kind of a microcosm of beach culture, elevated.
Yes, I would completely agree. It is a small beach town, but it kind of has a little bit of everything you're looking for in. Yeah, if you're looking for restaurants, bars, but it does have that small beach town vibe, not like Miami does.
So how did that kind of go into describing and deciding the beers that you're drinking? Because beach traditionally, you've got some people that are locals, but they might be a little interesting. And then there's plenty of tourists that come through here. How do you keep an initial beer lineup with all of those factors at play?
It's funny that you asked that question because we really don't. We don't, and I'm saying this in the best ways possible. We don't really, curate our beers to mimic the area. Now, that said, we do have some tropical beers on draft only because we're in Florida. And for us, it's part of who we are as Floridians. Tyler's adopted Floridian. We've got a pineapple blonde on draft. It's a flagship beer for us. It's our number one selling beer.
My wife is drinking it right now and absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We have another flagship beer for us. It's our mango guava passion fruit sour. Flagship, one of our best selling beers.
One of the things that was interesting that you were telling me about is one of the beers that you have year round, flagship, is Märzen. It's an Oktoberfest beer. You don't even say anything different.
Why are you giving up our secrets, man? Why are you giving up our secrets?
But it's amazing. It's like so many breweries, it's November 1st. I want it all gone. And here you are. It's what, late March?
I mean, we found that people like it. So if people like it and it continues to sell year round, why not make it year round? I mean, yeah, it's a good beer in its own right.
It's super silly. For me, one of my favorite beer styles is an Oktoberfest. Why are you only giving it to me in October?
Couldn't agree more.
Why can't I have that year round? And so we decided early on that we're going to make an Oktoberfest year round. Now, marketing wise, we say it's an amber lager, right? But in reality, it is an amber lager, but it's an Oktoberfest amber lager. So we don't get into the technicalities of it. We do list it as an Oktoberfest on our menu, but we feel it's such a beautiful style, such a pretty beer that we should be serving that year round. And again, it's one of our best selling beers.
It will be my next beer. Yeah. Just saying that right now. So, so we've got the beers, we've got the location, and definitely have it's. You were kind of right in calling it coastal, but it's still Florida coastal. It doesn't feel like a New England or anything. It's absolutely perfect. How difficult was it to get the community to come in when you finally opened?
Oh no, we were. I want to say this respectfully. We were lucky that we were coming on the back ends of COVID, because everybody was seeing the build out for years slowly. So the neighborhood was anticipating the opening of it. So the moment we opened up our doors, we were pretty fortunate that the rush was already on. And a lot of breweries get that initially. We've been fortunate enough that when you walk into the building, it has a feel of, it's bright. I mean, you're in here. It feels like what is it? Like a Key West resort, right? Like you're on the water, you're on a beach. It's elevated but casual at the same time. You can walk in with flip-flops. You can walk in dressed up. It's got a Florida resort, Hampton-y feel to it. The details in here, we spared no expense because we wanted people to feel very comfortable about, they coming in here and knowing that it was going to be a nice place to be at, to have some beers. And so that was kind of the first look for us. After that, everything else fell into place. The beers matched it. The customer service here is by far, and I love my brothers and sisters out there, but we take pride in what we do behind the bar, on the floor. Our bartenders here, our beer tenders here are incredibly knowledgeable, a ton of fun. They'll tell you themselves, most of the people here are tenured. They've been here. We've only been open for a year and a half. They'll tell you this is the best job they've ever had because the environment here is we play hard, we work hard, and what are we doing? We're selling beer, Nothing funner than that.
Do you have ebbs and flows with the season? Because I would assume, it's March, so it's technically spring break. Usually in South Florida, we tend to be a little bit reverse in where the summer months are maybe not nearly as bad until the snowbirds come down at the end of fall. Do you still have, or do you still try to keep an even keel with everything, or do you definitely see an ebb and flow in the people coming in with the seasons?
Yeah, we do have seasons here. Remember, we've only really been open for a little bit over a year and a half. And we're riding this wave of people still coming in saying, I didn't know you guys were here. And so that, along with people knowing we were here, people coming in during season, we feel the same ebbs and flows, not as hard as other businesses that have been open longer than we have. Now, our job is to continue to grow on that. How do we continue to, keep that momentum going, ride the wave, right? No pun intended, and continue to grow the brand, let people know who we are culturally. We consider ourselves not just a brewery, but a lifestyle. We are a lifestyle. Between what we do behind the bar, what we do as a building, what we do in events, what we do as beers. That's how we see ourselves. It's a feel. It's a state of mind. And it's been really great for us. Really, really, really great for us.
Does that make a lot of sense with the Deerfield Beach that you kind of have been around for so many years? Because you've been in this area long before this opened up. Yeah. So does that kind of feel that kind of vision and how Deerfield Beach sort of is in terms of not only just a city and a culture, but somebody that would embrace beer such as Cove?
No, I would completely agree with Manny. This town has always, at least for as long as I've been here, been very much a beach culture and very go with the flow. And there is an ebb and flow with the seasons, to his point as well.
Well, listen, to add to it, interestingly enough for us, as season is ending, we're already right when the summer hits, we're doing our 1 year anniversary. Our second year anniversary. Last year, we did our anniversary. Our 1 year anniversary was called Cove Chella. We sold a ton of tickets, and we had no idea what was going to happen. We closed out the area. We had a stage outside in front of the brewery, and we didn't know if we were going to get 150 people or 500 people. We had no idea. We brought in 3,000 people to this event, and it was epic. It was epic. And so that event in July, obviously, if we're talking about ebbs and flows and, the business of making beer, right? Because we are a business, that in the middle of the year helps us out. Then right after that, we're planning, we planned our last year, we ended up doing our Cove-toberfest, another massive success for us. And so even though there are ebbs and flows in the season for any business, especially here in South Florida, we do things proactively to make ourselves not feel that, right? And we're always planning out. And again, the place is a beautiful spot for a bunch of events. Believe it or not, people like to come here, do their wedding rehearsals here, their after parties here. We have a bunch of corporate events here.
Interesting.
It's a gorgeous place. It's beautiful. And so we maintain ourselves healthy during the slowest part of the season, by having a beautiful venue and great beers on draft, right?
That's awesome. All right, so that is it for part 1 of the Cove Brewery with Manny and Tyler. We will be back next week with part 2. Got a lot more fun things to talk about, and we're going to be talking about food as well, because that's a big part of the brewery experience these days. If you want to know when we are live, definitely follow us on social media. We are at Florida Beer Blog if you're on Instagram or Threads, at FL Beer Blog on Facebook. We're also on YouTube. We're going to start building that out. We've got our eye on a couple of other social media platforms. Hopefully those will go live pretty soon. If you want to email us, and I hope that you do, you can do so at floridabeerblog@gmail.com. You can also find us on the internet at floridabeerblog.com and floridabeerpodcast.com. And when you go to floridabeerpodcast.com, you will find that we are a proud member of the Florida Podcast Network, an amazing selection of Florida-based podcasts built by hand by the amazing people over at Flintstone Media. If you are interested in getting your podcast off the ground, whether it be for personal or for your own brand, Flintstone Media is the people to do it. So definitely contact them and check them out at floridapodcastnetwork.com. If you are going to listen to the podcast, we are on YouTube. Like I mentioned before, you can see our time at the recent Ocean Brews and Blues Beer Fest. You can also find us on Apple Music, Spotify, iHeart, even your smart speaker. Just ask your smart speaker to play the latest episode of the Florida Beer Podcast, and it will do so. But if you're going to follow us on a podcasting app, please make sure to subscribe so you get all the latest updates. If you can, leave us a great review. It does help other people find us as well. Our intro announcer is Jeff Brozovich. Field producer is Steve Pekala, and executive producer for the Florida Podcast Network and Grand High Poobah is Jemmy Legagneur. This is David Butler, your host and author. We will be back next week with part 2 from the Cove in Deerfield Beach. And in the meantime, enjoy and drink Florida craft.